Welcome to NarrativeNook audio tales where enchanted stories come to life. If you enjoy our stories, please subscribe, like and share to support our channel. Enjoy listening.
Lawrence took a seat in a corner as he waited for the banquet to end. On the other side of the hall, Jared sat with Maximilian as they watched the bride happily chatting with their guests. Jared and Nicole led the twins to sit at their seats. Lawrence stared at them, not touching his drink or food. He sat there solemnly. Nicole could feel his gaze on them. She leaned over and whispered to Jared, "I'm gonna head over to the balcony for a breather." "Need me to accompany you?" asked Jared in a low voice. Nicole shook her head. "No need. If you come, he might not approach me." Jared nodded in agreement, understanding what Nicole is trying to do. He glanced at Patricia. The lady, who was sitting at another table, immediately locked eyes with Jared and understood. She stepped outside and stood where the balcony was in sight. Expectedly, Lawrence walked to the balcony and handed Nicole a glass of red wine. "Were you waiting for me to join you?" Nicole accepted the wine glass and held it without sipping. Instead, she looked Lawrence in the eye. "You've been waiting for this opportunity, haven't you?" "Smart girl," said Lawrence, sipping from his glass and smirking. "She hasn't changed one bit. Nothing gets past her. If I told you it was an accident, would you buy it?" he said. Then, he shrugged. But of course, the fire crest would naturally recognize its owner. Nicole looked into Lawrence's calm eyes. Does he have nothing to explain? Lawrence avoided Nicole's eyes. He broke the awkward silence. "If you don't recover your memory and with this in your possession, it's going to be a threat to you." Nicole shrugged nonchalantly. "You seem to be quite confident that I won't recover my memory." "Of course not. But sometimes these things can't be forced. You seem to have a hard time trying to remember your past," said Lawrence steadily. Never could he have thought that Nicole could recover her memory and reobtain the fire crest. "So now you're saying that the fire crest is hazardous to me?" asked Nicole, raising an eyebrow at him and shooting him a skeptical look. "I don't want to admit this, but you're back home with your family. So naturally, I have to support you in getting back the fire crest." "Support me?" Nicole echoed, her eyes widening. "He wanted to use me for the fire crest when I first lost my memory. He didn't even tell me about the fire crest at all. I would have agreed to everything he'd ask, but yet, he chose to keep this a secret from me. Yes. Now that you've gotten back the fire crest, I'm more than happy for you," said Lawrence. His fake smile did not quite reach his eyes, but it was enough to portray he was really happy for Nicole. "Thank you for your kind wishes. I can't help but think in the past, I've promised to help you crack the code as a token of gratitude for saving my life. However, I'm afraid I can't do that now." Lawrence shook his head. "It had never once crossed my mind that I'd want you to repay me. Let's just call it even." Nicole was confused. "Even? I saved you and you wanted to repay me, that's one thing. I lied to you about it and you didn't get angry but instead forgave me. I think we can call it even," Lawrence explained. Nicole narrowed her eyes. She could not distinguish between the Lawrence that she had known and the man who was standing before her at that moment. Lawrence noticed that Nicole went silent for a while. "Why? What's wrong?" Lawrence asked with a faint smile. Nicole mustered up a smile too. "Okay." A wave of relief flashed in Lawrence's expression. "That's good." He then looked at his watch. "It's getting late. I should head back now." "Where to?" Nicole asked. She got a feeling that he was leaving to somewhere else instead of his residence. "Macrunia." Nicole raised an eyebrow, stunned for a moment. "Oh, all right then. There are some things that need to be sorted and it might take some time for me to come back here," Lawrence explained and added, "If there's anything you need while I'm not around, you can always go to Ian." "He isn't going with you?" she asked. Is Lawrence purposely leaving Ian behind so he could keep getting updates and news of what's happening here? "We need someone to keep an eye on the company here, so I'd be glad if you don't disrupt him from work since you have Jared with you." I don't wish to cause any more friction between us, said Lawrence with a smile. Nicole shrugged. Yeah, I think that won't be happening. Let's hope it stays that way. He stared at her for a while before turning around to leave. Once he left, Patricia walked onto the balcony and greeted, Ms. Riddle. Nicole turned to look at her. It's okay. Let's go back to the rest. Yes, Ms. Riddle. Patricia followed Nicole back into the reception hall. Nicole took a seat at her table while Patricia went and found an empty seat nearby. Mommy, has Godpa left? Asked Nolan, glancing at the door. Yes, he left. There were some things he needed to take care of, Nicole answered truthfully. Nolan lowered his head in disappointment, sighing. Oh. Nicole patted his shoulders lightly to comfort him. What's wrong, Nolan? I think things have been changing too quickly, said Nolan, looking up at his mother and giving her a weak smile. But everything's going quite well now. Don't you think so, Nolan? Lorna interrupted. Nolan glanced at his sister. Yes. Lorna giggled in satisfaction. Now we're a complete family. Mommy, Daddy, Nolan, and me. Come here, guys. Ryder and Gary Finley approached and handed out a gift to the twins. Nolan, Lorna, here's a gift for you too. Here's mine to you, said Martin as he gave out his gift. It was not long before the twins were surrounded by piles of gifts. It made the twins grin from ear to ear. They felt a little overwhelmed by the sudden influx of gifts from so many people who were not family members. Ever since we found Daddy, there are even more uncles now that will give us gifts, the twins thought to themselves. Make sure you thank everyone for the gifts, Jared said with a straight face. He seemed to be unhappy with the sudden gifting. The twins obediently followed Jared's instructions and thanked whoever had given them gifts. Why does Daddy look so unhappy? They wondered as they glanced at Jared. Everyone was already used to Jared's grim appearance, so no one dared to say much. Instead, they turned to Nicole. I didn't expect that you'd return and bring a pair of gems with you. Nicole smiled happily. Yeah, they're gems all right. She thought to herself, if it weren't for them, I don't know what I would have done for the past 5 years. Nolan noticed that everyone's attention was fixed on their mother. He raised his eyebrow and looked at Jared, hoping to get an answer to things. Jared curtly ordered, focus on eating. He placed vegetables onto his son's plate. Dad, were these your competitors from before? Asked Nolan. Jared quickly scanned the table. They're not worthy of your mother. So they are, said Nolan. The sudden claim caused Jared to choke on his food. One of these days, these smart brats will be the death of me, Jared thought as he looked at the people standing around Nicole. His gaze was cold. A few people shuddered and immediately excused themselves. Mommy, they were all your admirers, weren't they? Asked Nolan, trying to be cheeky. Jared flicked on Nolan's head lightly. Eat your food. Smiling, Nicole refrained herself from laughing out loud. Jared glanced at Nicole helplessly, before placing some food onto her plate. In a softer voice, he said, Eat up. Okay. Nicole smiled sweetly before taking a bite. Nolan frowned, wondering why he was flicked by Jared. The banquet gradually came to an end as guests slowly took their leave one after another. At the hotel lobby, Maximilian said, I'll best be going now. I'll be leaving as well, said Mr. Riddle Sr. By the way, Mr. Riddle Sr., don't forget our appointment. Don't worry, I didn't forget about it, Mr. Riddle Sr. reassured. Soon the two of them left in their own cars as the others got into theirs. It was not long before the brightly lit hotel lobby became silent. Meanwhile, Lawrence had just arrived back at his residence. You stay back and keep an eye on what's happening here, Lawrence ordered Ian. Yes, sir, Ian responded. Also, since Nicole has found the fire crest, others might be observing its every move, added Lawrence. Ian nodded. Very well, sir. He hesitated before speaking again. Mr. Royce, is it true that Ms. Riddle hasn't recovered any of her memories? I think so. She hasn't changed much since we met, and there are some things that can never go back to the way they used to be, said Lawrence. Whether Nicole gets her memory back or not, the moment she recovered the fire crest, it was already game over for what's left of our friendship. We could no longer go back to how we used to be. Ever since she returned home, there was a possibility that someone would tell her about the fire crest, regardless of her regaining her memory or not. None of these things were within my control ever since she came here. When she was still at Crescent Island, I would have still stood a chance to get the fire crest, but now the question of whether she had recovered her memory or not is the problem. Staying here at San Giotto, any news would easily be spread. Whether she has her memory back or not, Nicole will surely find out sooner or later, or that someone would tell her about it, Lawrence thought to himself. Then all of our hard work was all in vain, said Ian, sounding dejected. Lawrence's eyes darkened. Then he said in a low voice, "So we have to think of other ways now." Things had reached a new point now, with the fire crest being almost impossible to steal. Lawrence had no thoughts of giving up his plan, even if Nicole regained her identity and reinstated her ownership of the fire crest. Whether everyone around her had told her everything or she did not know anything, Lawrence was determined to fight for the chance to get the fire crest in his hands. Lawrence looked at Ian with determination. "Go and get ready. I'll leave first thing tomorrow morning." "Yes, sir." Ian quickly went to pack Lawrence's bags for his trip. Meanwhile, Lawrence laid on the sofa, staring out the window, consumed in his thoughts. The next day, the sun was shining, and Nicole had walked into the Riddle Corporation as usual. The things for Dill Corp were running smoothly once more. As Nicole got out of the elevator, she was met with Sean and Steve, who were making their way to the conference room. Noticing Nicole, Sean and Steve stopped in their tracks. "Nicole, you're here." "Yes, I am." "What's going on?" replied Nicole. "Next quarter's business meeting. Want to join?" asked Steve. Nicole shook her head. She was not prepared for the meeting, as she had just returned to the head office of Riddle Corporation. "I'll pass. Just have the secretary pass the meeting minutes to me, along with the decision." Sean and Steve agreed before excusing themselves and entering the meeting. Nicole brought Patricia to her office. "Ms. Riddle, the Ellison family has seemed to have abandoned the electrical component manufacturing factory," Patricia reported, handing a document over to Nicole. "So soon?" Nicole exclaimed. She did not expect to hear this so soon. He had probably anticipated and foreseen this coming, so he gave up competing with us entirely, Patricia summarized. "I didn't expect he'd give up so fast. The factory might not be able to sustain on their own for very long," Nicole thought to herself. "Get someone to acquire that factory as soon as possible," she ordered. "Since he gave up, I should take over it, as the factory itself is still in good condition. I have to thank him for leaving me with such a good opportunity. I also have to get Steve to go acquire it as soon as possible. We have to act fast to get it off the market." "Yes, Ms. Riddle. I'll make the agreement immediately," said Patricia before excusing herself to leave. Nicole picked up the document and started humming to herself as she began to work, feeling in a good mood. Suddenly, her phone buzzed. Nicole picked up the device and saw that she had received a message from Lulu. She quickly tapped open the message and was immediately brought into a group chat with Lulu, June, and Nicole in it. "Lulu, why didn't you inform me that you announced Nolan and Lana to the world?" "June, I'm away on my honeymoon. I don't want to be bothered." Lulu sent a crying emoji. "It seems that we're not true friends after all." Nicole, "I'll buy you guys dinner once you get back from your honeymoon." Lulu, "You're not invited. Only the twins are invited." June sent a playful emoji as a response to her reconsideration. Nicole, "Okay, then I guess I'll split my half of the bill for what I eat." The three of them chatted happily. Nicole was glad that their honeymoon was smooth sailing and were not affected by what happened during their wedding. Nicole felt at ease as she told them to have fun. Lulu, "It's very relaxing. You should try it." June, "I think you're considering living on that island." Lulu, "Yeah, don't you want to?" June sent a crying emoji. It's too expensive to live here. I have to go back and earn money. Nicole and Lulu. Loser. June. Yeah, call me the loser. Don't come crying to me when you get back from your honeymoon. Lulu. I won't. Spencer paid for everything. Serves her right for going to a concrete jungle for her honeymoon. Lulu thought to herself. June. Samuel's money is my money. We're husband and wife now. Lulu spammed several laughing emojis into the group chat. Lulu. Why don't you come over to my place? The expenses for things are very low. On top of that, no one would come and bother you. It's paradise. June. I'll consider it. Nicole. This is a once-in-a-lifetime thing. As long as you're happy, nothing else matters. June. Thanks, Nicole. The three of them chatted happily, and the smile on Nicole's face never dissipated. She was glad that her friends and brothers were together. Soon, a knock on her door interrupted her from her thoughts. Nicole typed out a reply before closing the group chat. Come in, said Nicole, stashing her phone away and looking at the door. Patricia came in, pushing the door open. Her eyebrows were raised. Ms. Riddle, the acquisition was successful. So quickly. Nicole gasped. She was surprised with the pace of how Patricia was handling things. It seems that they've already sent the documents over to us, said Patricia, placing the contract in front of Nicole. Nicole's eyes narrowed as she opened the contract. She quickly scanned through the contents and her face became dark. Who signed this contract? The sales team must have gotten someone to go over and have it signed, said Patricia. Noticing that there might be a problem, she quickly followed up and asked, Is there something wrong with it? Nicole sighed loudly. Read it yourself and tell me what went wrong. Patricia quickly took the contract in her hand, and she quickly skimmed through the contents. Her face paled. How can this happen? Someone must have tampered with it, said Nicole, her face stern. It was obviously an acquisition contract at first, but now it's become a joint venture contract. Now not only did I get the electronic component manufacturing factory, but I also have a joint venture with Harvey Ellison. Nicole immediately knew right off the bat that it was one of Harvey's dirty little tricks. But how could someone from my side have this kind of slip-up? We had previously done internal screening of our employees, and everything went without a hitch. I'll go and investigate this matter, said Patricia, sensing how serious the matter was. She quickly went to check. Biting her lip, Nicole stared at the contract in her hands. It's no wonder that he was so happy with how it turned out. Maybe he knew that in the end I'd fall for his petty little tricks. Joint venture. Nicole murmured before smirking. Harvey Ellison, if this is what you're playing at, then it's what you'll be getting. I'll cooperate with you entirely. I just hope you won't regret it. It was not long before Patricia came rushing into Nicole's office again. Ms. Riddle, the person we've sent out for the contract has been knocked unconscious, and several of our seals are found missing. They must have taken it away. Are they okay? Asked Nicole. Yes, they're okay. They just regained consciousness, replied Patricia. That's a relief to hear. Have him take 2 days off to recover, Nicole instructed. After a moment of brief silence, Nicole spoke up once more. The electronic component manufacturing company. Can you arrange a reliable person to manage it? Patricia was taken aback by Nicole's sudden approach. Ms. Riddle, are you really going to go through with this contract? Yeah, what choice do we have? We've already signed it. Maybe it'll be a blessing in disguise, said Nicole. One thing for sure is that if I don't go ahead with this contract, Harvey would never let me go. I'd like to see for sure how capable this guy is. He needs to be taught a lesson. Okay, I'll make the necessary adjustments, Patricia replied, leaving. Nicole placed the contract into the drawer beside her desk before picking up the other documents on her desk while trying to maintain her composure. Soon, the sun was setting over the horizon. Nicole had just gotten out of work and walked out of Riddle Corporation. Jared was already parked at the lobby waiting for her. Nicole raised an eyebrow as she saw the silhouette of Jared leaning against his car with the setting sun shining behind him. He looks like a god. How can he be real? He must have saved a universe or something to be blessed with such good looks, Nicole mused. She had stopped in her tracks and was unconsciously staring at Jared with a huge grin. Jared took slow strides toward Nicole. He reached out and ran his fingers through her hair. "What are you thinking about?" "You," said Nicole, reaching up to cup Jared's face. "How can you be so good-looking? Even as a woman, I'm quite jealous of your facial features." Nicole pouted. Without a word, Jared leaned down and kissed Nicole's forehead. "You look way better than I ever will," he said with a smile. Nicole's cheeks flushed bright red when she realized that passers-by were looking at them and snickering. She quickly pulled Jared toward their car. This guy can't differentiate between a public space and a private space. How can he do such an embarrassing thing in front of so many people? Lord, I'm so embarrassed. Right in front of my own company. Nicole ranted mentally to herself. After they settled down in the car, Nicole glanced out the window before signaling Max to start driving. "Max, drive." Without a moment of hesitation, the car engine revved up. Nicole sighed in relief and then glared at Jared angrily. "You're not allowed to kiss me like that in public anymore." "Hey, in my defense, it was you who said I was good-looking first. I was just returning the favor," said Jared in a matter-of-fact way. "Then I won't say such things like that again in the future," Nicole snarled, rolling her eyes. Jared quickly lowered his head and surrendered. "Come on, don't be like this. I like to hear you compliment me." Nicole swallowed and reluctantly grumbled. "Okay, but I won't be telling this to you in public." She was sure that if she did not agree to it, Jared would surely do the same thing again in the future. "Let's talk about it when we get home." Jared grinned, a hint of a cheekiness in his smile as he looked at Nicole with adoration in his eyes. Although Jared seemed to move on from the topic, a gut feeling told Nicole that he had not let the matter go at all. In other words, she might have dug her own grave. It was not long before they reached the Riddle residence, where the twins had also just arrived home from kindergarten. They immediately rushed out from the car and ran toward Nicole and Jared. "Daddy! Mommy!" they screamed as they ran to their parents. "You're back. We just arrived home." Tia had just gotten out of the car. She walked up to them and greeted, "Mr. Johnston, Ms. Nicole." "Tia, go get Mrs. Wallace Sr. and tell her that dinner's ready. We're eating in our front yard today," said Nicole. "All right, I'll head back and ask her. I'll bring her over if she's joining," replied Tia. Nicole nodded. "Okay, sure." Looking at Tia walking back to the courtyard, Nicole sighed softly. She was really frustrated and worried about Stanley and Tia. She could not do much but create more opportunities for them to meet. During dinner, the family gathered around the dining table. Mrs. Wallace Sr. and Tia were present. Mrs. Wallace Sr. heard about Nolan and Lana reclaiming their identities but could not attend the banquet yesterday due to her unwell body. "Come here. These are my gifts to you," said Mrs. Wallace Sr., handing 2 gifts wrapped in red to the twins. Nolan and Lana received the gift and politely thanked her. "Thank you, great-grandma." "You're welcome. It's just a little something from me." Mr. Wallace Sr. smiled. Nicole, however, knew this gift was Mrs. Wallace Sr.'s most prized possession, which had been kept hidden for many years. Nicole hesitated and looked at Mrs. Wallace Sr., wondering if the kids should really accept the gifts. But she chose to respect her decision and accept the gifts. Since Mrs. Wallace Sr. gifted it to the kids, Nicole would inform the kids to take good care of it. "Mrs. Wallace Sr., you're looking well. If the vitamins last time worked, I'll send some more to you," Nicole suggested. "Yes, I'm feeling fine." Mrs. Wallace Sr. smiled. "That's too kind of you. I'll just have Tia on it." Nicole was always busy, and Mrs. Wallace Sr. did not want to trouble her with such small things. "There are no worries. I'll handle it," Nicole promised. The vitamins she prepared were her token to express her goodwill. These will be different from the ones Tia bought. Besides that, Nicole could adjust the dosages according to Mrs. Wallace Sr.'s condition. Let Nicole prepare them. She knows the situation better, Gloria chimed in, thinking it was only right for Nicole to do something for Mrs. Wallace Sr. since there was not much she could do. Mrs. Wallace Sr. stopped rejecting and gladly accepted Nicole's offer. All right then. Thank you in advance. Great-grandma, you should try this. Lana handed a shrimp to Mrs. Wallace Sr. Thank you, sweetheart. Mrs. Wallace Sr. smiled, her eyes almost watery, showing her genuine affection for the kids. Now that Nicole was all settled, only Tia was left with Mrs. Wallace Sr. Although Tia was taking care of her, she had been accompanying Mrs. Wallace Sr. as well. Mrs. Wallace Sr. has already considered Tia as her own. With that in mind, Mrs. Wallace Sr. said, I can finally find peace now that Nicole is doing well. She even has her 2 adorable children. I'm only left with Tia. My greatest wish is for you to start your own family. Then my heart will be truly content. Tia blushed and said sheepishly, Grandma, I'll take care of you forever. Silly child. How could you stay with me forever? I may not have many years left to be with you, Mrs. Wallace Sr. advised Tia. Don't hesitate. Just tell me when you meet someone you like, or you could tell Nicole. We can both help you with it. Grandma. Tia's face reddened even more, and she instinctively lowered her head. This girl. Mrs. Wallace Sr. chuckled. You don't have to worry about me. Even if you don't take care of me, someone else will. It was just that Tia had been with her all these years. Naturally, Tia would still stay with her until she got married. But if Tia found someone she loved, Mrs. Wallace Sr. did not want to hold her back. Mrs. Wallace Sr.'s right. We can find someone to look after her, said Gloria, joining the conversation. Mrs. Wallace Sr. would receive proper care as long as she was with them. I didn't mean that, Tia said, biting her lip. Awkwardly, she explained. I haven't found anyone I like. Really? Mrs. Wallace Sr. frowned. She said regretfully, Is it because you're always with this old lady? You should go out and make more friends. No, that's not what I meant. I just... Tia stuttered, frustrated. She was blushing. I like being at home. Nicole, why don't you arrange a spot for her in your company? It doesn't matter if it's a janitor. I'm sure there'll be chances for her to meet new people, Mrs. Wallace Sr. urged. No, I don't need that. Tia shook her head. She turned to Nicole. Nicole, I'm fine. Just let me take care of Grandma. But Grandma wants you to get married, said Nicole, pretending to sound conflicted. Tia bit her lip and, after hesitating, she said softly, Grandma, I don't want to get married. Looking at Tia's desolate expression, Mrs. Wallace Sr. felt heartbroken for her and asked, Did something happen? Nothing happened. I just feel that I'm quite satisfied with the life I have right now, Tia said with a half smile, not wanting Mrs. Wallace Sr. to worry for her. Grandma, I say let's forget about it. Maybe Tia's destiny has yet to come. There's no need to rush it, Nicole reassured. Mrs. Wallace Sr. looked at both Nicole and Tia before agreeing. All right then. You're all grown up. I'm happy as long as you're happy. Mrs. Wallace Sr. could tell Tia had something on her mind, but Tia might not want to talk about it. Sensing the awkward atmosphere, Gloria gestured to the food. All right, come on. Time for food. Yes, let's eat. The topic of the conversation was shifted, and the atmosphere soon turned lively again. Originally, Nolan and Lana were not hungry, so they sat for a while before going to watch television. The others chatted around the table with laughter. Stanley would cast random glances at Tia, but Tia was busy eating with her head low. Feeling disappointed, Stanley stopped looking and started eating his food. Nicole saw both of their behaviors and felt slightly shocked. She wondered, is there a misunderstanding between them? I feel like they still have feelings for each other, but why could they just not take a step forward in their relationship? Eat up, Jared's voice sounded right in her ears, and many more dishes filled her plate. Thanks, I'm good. Nicole smiled, signaling to Jared that her food was sufficient. When the two exchanged glances, the atmosphere between them was inexplicably sweet. After dinner, Tia and Mrs. Wallace Sr. went back to rest. Daniel and Gloria gestured for everyone to sit in the living room. "Mom, I still have an online meeting later," Stanley informed and escaped after sensing things were not right. "Sit down," Gloria said sternly, which happened rarely. Stanley had no choice but to sit down. He silently sighed to himself as he realized he was about to face more pressure about getting married. As expected, Gloria started asking about it. "Can you set a date? We'll adjust accordingly to your schedule." "Mom, I really can't be sure," Stanley replied helplessly. "What's there to be unsure about? How many more days is that seminar of yours going to happen?" Gloria asked. 3 more days, Stanley said reluctantly. Gloria nodded in satisfaction. "Very well. After these 3 days, are there any more seminars going on?" "For now, nothing is scheduled," Stanley replied, already feeling overwhelmed. "Since nothing is scheduled, keep that time available," Gloria decided for him. "Remember, you promised us to leave that time open for any dates or appointments." Stanley silently screamed in agony to himself. "All right, I got it." He pretended to agree to his mother's request, but in fact, he was contemplating escaping the country. "Stop daydreaming. I already kept your passport. If this date doesn't go successfully, don't you dare think of going anywhere else," Gloria warned, seeing through her son. Stanley immediately put on a smiling face. "Come on, why would I? After my seminar ends, there'll still be some follow-up work to do. I won't leave San Giotto anytime soon." "All right," Gloria said, satisfied. "I hope when you leave San Giotto, it'll be for your honeymoon." "Can I go upstairs now? I really do have a meeting," Stanley begged. "Run along." At this moment, Gloria did not care if Stanley had a meeting or not. After all, he must do the things he promised. After Stanley left, Nicole laughed. "Mom, aren't you pushing Stanley too much? Don't tell me you didn't realize that if we don't push harder, he might remain single forever," Gloria stated worriedly. After all these years, Samuel and Spencer both had June and Lulu by their sides. Although they were not yet married to each other, these two had official girlfriends. Yet Stanley has had no girls around him. If this situation went on, Stanley would never get married. "Mom, during these years when I'm not home, did something special happen to Stanley?" Nicole prompted after thinking for a moment. Gloria pondered before answering. "I don't think so." She turned to her husband. "Was there anything special?" Daniel shook. "I don't think so too. Why would you ask this question?" Daniel asked curiously. Did Nicole notice something unusual? "I was just asking." "It's fine if nothing happened," Nicole replied. It was just merely her speculation, so she did not want to tell her parents and make them worry for nothing. "Well, look at the time. If there's nothing else, you should get some rest," Gloria reminded. "Yeah, we're going up." Nicole agreed, and they went up with the kids. Looking at the family of 4, Gloria sighed in relief. How good would it be if all the kids could end up like Jared and Nicole? Eyes filled with reassurance, Daniel replied. "Don't worry. They will. Hopefully. I wish them all well. It's getting late. Let's get some rest." "Yeah." The night was deep, and all was silent. The Riddle family manor had long been engulfed in darkness, and only Nicole's room was still illuminated with light. "It's getting late. Aren't you going to rest?" Jared asked in concern, seeing that Nicole was still busy with her work. Nicole spared a moment to turn to Jared. "I'll be done soon." She then continued to work. Jared came over, placed a glass of warm water within Nicole's reach, and then sat down. Jared saw Nicole searching through the hunters and asked, "What are you doing?" Lawrence left San Giotto and went back to Macrunia, saying there was something he needed to attend to. "But I have this strange feeling," so I wanted to find out more, Nicole explained. When Lawrence left, everything seemed peaceful and fine. However, Nicole found his departure too sudden. If he had no specific reason, he should not have left at this time. It's very peaceful over there, Jared said blandly. Shocked, Nicole looked at him. You already checked? I've sent some people there, but there hasn't been any news recently, Jared explained. That was why he knew it was peaceful over there, and nothing major happened. Otherwise, he would have gotten the news. I see, Nicole thought, a hint of understanding crossing her eyes. She chuckled. Well, that confirms my suspicion since nothing happened there. Lawrence did not have anything to attend to, so he left San Giotto for other reasons. Could it be Everett? Nicole guessed. He probably isn't worth Lawrence's effort, Jared responded. Nicole thought for a moment and agreed. You're right. As the two were chatting, Nicole's account received a message. It was through her secondary account. There's something going on with the watercrest, but the authenticity of this information still needs to be determined. Nicole was shocked to read the message. She looked at Jared, confused. She seemed to want his input on the matter. You could check on it, Jared replied solemnly. At this moment, no matter the authenticity of the information, it had to be confirmed. Nicole had just retrieved the fire crest, and now the watercrest had emerged. There was a slight possibility that Lawrence's sudden departure had something to do with this. I think it should be confirmed too. But who's the right person for it? Nicole frowned. Ian's staying here was obviously to monitor their every move. Therefore, Lawrence would know if someone in San Giotto made a move. It wouldn't be just Lawrence and us who have knowledge of this information. So, if it's true, many others may start taking action, Jared said seriously. Nicole raised her eyebrows. If our people can't take action, we can secretly arrange for those who aren't in San Giotto to investigate discreetly. Maybe they could just keep an eye on those individuals who know about the situation. I have an idea. Nicole smiled. In this way, they could investigate all they wanted without Lawrence getting suspicious of them. Jared ruffled Nicole's hair affectionately. So, can we go to bed now then? Nicole switched off her laptop and wrapped her arms around Jared's neck. She pouted. Take me there. Eyes filled with tenderness, Jared gently carried Nicole to the bed. He set Nicole down and then leaned over her. His hands supported him on either side of Nicole's body as he gazed down at her. Nicole looked at him with a coy smile. Her hands wrapped around Jared's neck, she pulled him toward her. With their lips locked, the temperature in the room started to rise. The next day, the sun shone brightly. Nicole arrived at the company as usual. Her assistant appeared somewhat hesitant as she informed, "Mr. Ellison is waiting for you." Raising an eyebrow, Nicole smirked. "Where is he?" "Mr. Ellison is waiting in the reception room," Nicole's assistant replied. Nicole entered the reception room and saw Harvey leaning on the couch leisurely, eyeing everything inside. Sensing a presence, Harvey turned and saw Nicole. He put on a fake smile, stood up, and acted like a gentleman. "We meet again, Ms. Riddle." "Nice to meet you," Nicole said indifferently, keeping a strictly professional demeanor. Knock. 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 The assistant brought coffee into the room. "Mr. Ellison, have some coffee," said Nicole, gesturing in that direction. Then, she sat down and invited Harvey to do the same. "Since Mr. Ellison is present here, shall we talk about the joint venture factory?" "Well, there's no rush in that," said Harvey. His purpose here had nothing to do with discussing the joint venture. Compared to losing a factory, he felt it was more important to build a closer relationship with Nicole. Shocked, Nicole raised her brows and asked, "Well, I have no idea what else there is to discuss if not the factory. Unless you changed your mind." With a pause, Nicole pretended to grasp the situation and said, "If you regret the decision to join ventures, I could purchase the factory on my own." Harvey's smile twitched, and he said helplessly, "All right then. Do you have any opinions or suggestions for the joint venture?" I suggest you withdraw from the venture. Would you agree to that? Nicole said indifferently. Harvey could hardly maintain his composure. He gritted his teeth and pretended to stay calm. This is something I cannot satisfy. It's done, and it can't be simply changed. I'm just saying. I also believe it'd be difficult to amend the contract's terms. Nicole replied nonchalantly, shrugging her shoulders. She did not expect Harvey to agree to her suggestion in the first place. After all, if Harvey agreed to Nicole's suggestion, he would not have done those dirty tricks and signed the contract. It's my honor to collaborate with you. I hope our future cooperation will be smooth and pleasant. Harvey faked a smile and extended a hand for Nicole to shake. Nicole coldly glanced at Harvey. Well, that depends on you, Mr. Ellison. She then called for her assistant. Please see Mr. Ellison out. Her assistant promptly entered and escorted Harvey out, saying, This way, please, Mr. Ellison. We shall meet again. Harvey smirked and left. Once Harvey left, Patricia entered the office. Ms. Riddle, Nicole explained. Don't worry. He just came to validate his presence. Nicole did not even try to be polite. After all, she was happy that she irritated Harvey. What about the collaboration in the future? Patricia asked. Harvey had his intentions for the joint venture. Thus, the collaboration might be trickier than expected. It's all right. He's the one who wants the collaboration. Nicole smirked. Have you prepared the things I requested? All set, Patricia informed. Then it's time for action, Nicole said meaningfully while looking out the window. All right. A faint smile appeared on Nicole's face as she thought. Harvey, you're the one who wanted the collaboration. As for how pleasant the collaboration will be, it'll depend on your definition of pleasant. But I certainly hope you enjoy this. Meanwhile, Harvey exited the Riddle Corporation building and hopped into his car. How was it, Mr. Ellison? His assistant asked. Just start the car, Harvey said depressingly. Sensing Harvey's desolation, his assistant followed his orders and stopped talking. Harvey leaned into his seat, his gaze gloomy as he looked out the car window. Nicole didn't seem affected by the matter. Why? She wanted to purchase the electronic component factory, but I tampered with the contract secretly. Shouldn't she be angry and frustrated now that it turned into a joint venture? Why am I the one feeling the anger now? If it were you, wouldn't you be angry? Harvey questioned his assistant abruptly. His assistant froze for a moment before cautiously asking, What should I be angry about? Harvey said displeased. Wouldn't you be angry about the contract? Well, his assistant said, looking at Harvey in the rearview mirror. He pondered for a moment before answering. I guess I would. Maybe Nicole is pretending to show you her anger. It's like admitting defeat if she showed her frustration. The atmosphere in the car fell into silence for a moment before Harvey's chuckle sounded. You're right. That made sense. If Nicole got mad in front of him, it would be admitting defeat. So Nicole had to pretend to maintain her composure. Seeing Harvey's mood improve, his assistant breathed a sigh of relief. From now on, report every single thing about the component factory to me. Harvey instructed. Yes, sir, his assistant replied. Harvey's gloomy mood instantly disappeared. There was even a hint of smugness in him. The sunset caused a warm and golden glow. Before Nicole could walk out of her office after work, a phone call came in. Seeing it was Tia's number, she answered it. Yes, Tia. Mummy, Nolan's voice came through the phone. Mummy, we want Tia to take us for ice cream. Is that all right? Nicole frowned. You want to eat ice cream? Yes, can we please? Lona's voice came through the phone. Let Tia bring you home first. I'll get you the ice cream when I come home. Okay. Nicole proposed. Nicole was worried Tia could not manage both the kids outside, and it was not that she did not trust Tia with the kids. Mummy, we promise to be good and listen to Tia. We really want to eat in the store, Lana started to plead. Mummy, Tia and I will take care of Lana, Nolan promised. Nicole had no choice but to agree. All right then, you guys go ahead. Your father and I will come later on. Nicole could tell they really wanted to go, so she was forced to come to this compromise out of concern for them. Thank you, Mummy. Nolan and Lana were elated and happily hung up the phone call. Listening to the dial tone, Nicole could not help but shake her head in amusement and put her phone away. We can leave now, Patricia came over to inform. All right, Nicole responded, and she headed into the elevator. Outside Riddle Corporation, Jared had arrived, so Nicole entered the car. The kids are eating ice cream. Let's go there, Nicole said. Do you know which one they're going to? Jared asked. Isn't it the one they always go to? Nicole paused. She did not consider this before and assumed it was the regular spot they visited. Realization flashed in Jared's eyes. I'm afraid they're not there for the ice cream. Ha. Nicole sounded softly. Are you saying that? Meanwhile, Nolan and Lana said to the driver, let's go to Sorley on Timeston Road. Didn't you guys want to get ice cream? Asked Tia, finding it strange. Oh, my classmates said that the ice cream there is better, Nolan replied calmly. Tia knew that they loved ice cream, so she did not think much of it and brought them to Sorley. Sorley was a commercial district, where there were a lot of offices and business clubs. There were also some mini restaurants that sold food and beverages, as well as some small supermarkets. Nolan, where's the ice cream shop that we're going to? Lana asked Nolan while glancing around. They were not familiar with this place at all, and everything Nolan knew about Sorley was from the internet. The buildings around them all shared similar designs, and it was very confusing. Nolan was also looking around, but he was not searching for the ice cream shop. Instead, he was looking for a club because he had heard that Stanley would go there alone to think after work that day. Stanley had once told him that the club's name was Serenity. It had an elegant environment and was exceptionally quiet, making it a very good place to think. That was why Stanley would always go there to work on his project. After searching for some time, Nolan finally found Serenity in the northwest corner of Sorley. Then, his eyes lit up. It's over there. Nolan pointed as he said, let's go. Watch your step, Tia said to the children, worried that they might walk too fast and trip. When they arrived at the entrance of Serenity, Tia grabbed Nolan's hand just as he was about to go in. Nolan, we should probably look around a bit more to see if there's a dedicated ice cream shop. Serenity was a club that looked nothing like an ice cream shop. Tia was worried that they would be kicked out if they were to just go inside. Seeing that Tia did not want to go inside, Lana put on a puzzled look and asked, is there no ice cream inside? Tia had no choice but to explain helplessly. I haven't been here before, so I don't know. However, I just think it'd be better for us to visit a place that only sells ice cream. Kids, you. The receptionist came outside. She had never seen any child entering the club, so she found it a little strange. My mom and dad will be here soon. We'll go in and wait if there's ice cream inside. Otherwise, we'll go somewhere else, Nolan said decisively after sensing the receptionist's slight surprise. Upon hearing that their parents would be coming, straightened. We do have ice cream. Please follow me. Nolan and Lana felt secretly delighted after successfully entering the club. They looked around inside, but unfortunately, they could not find Stanley anywhere on the first floor. So, they figured that he was probably in one of the private rooms upstairs. They wondered if they should just go upstairs directly or pretend to bump into Stanley coincidentally. Nolan stole a glance at Tia and noticed that she was ordering ice cream with a service staff. Then, he immediately made a decision and went upstairs directly. They would have to stay on the first order after the ice cream came, and his entire plan today would be ruined. Ms. Rose, since Mom and Dad will be coming in a while anyway, we'll go wait for them in the private rooms upstairs, Nolan said as he was already dragging Lana toward the second floor. Okay then, Tia agreed as it seemed like Nolan and Lana were planning to finish their ice cream here before leaving. Besides, Nicole had also told her that she would be coming, and they would have to wait for her anyway. Once upstairs, Nolan and Lana searched through several private rooms upstairs but still could not see Stanley anywhere. "Kids, all the rooms ahead are occupied," one of the staff told them as there were no empty rooms left. "Ms." Lana suddenly grabbed the staff and spoke in a hushed tone. "Is Stanley Riddle here today?" Seeing the staff's hesitation, Lana added, "He's actually my uncle." The staff widened her gaze in surprise upon hearing that. Then she nodded. "Ah, I see. I was just wondering why you two looked so familiar." Although no outsiders were invited to Nolan and Lana's party, the staff happened to have a close friend working at that hotel. Coincidentally, she had a day off and visited her friend there when the party was being held. So, she saw Nolan and Lana. However, she had not expected them to suddenly show up here, so she could not recognize them right away. Naturally, she knew that Nolan and Lana were siblings. So, she smiled and replied softly, "Mr. Riddle is in the room at the back. He said that he did not want anyone entering his room, but I think he would make an exception for you too. In that case, please get us 4 servings of ice cream and have them sent to the room," Lana said with a sweet smile while looking at the staff. "Thank you so much." No one could ever resist such a smart, adorable, and polite child. The staff then smiled back and said, "Sure, I'll get it done right away." "Nolan, let's go." Lana lifted her chin in a proud manner and took the lead. Nolan heard what Lana said and grabbed Tia's hand. "Ms. Rose, let's go. Didn't the staff say that all the rooms ahead are occupied?" Tia was a little puzzled. "Yeah, but just come with us," Nolan and Lana said as they led Tia to the door of a room. Lana knocked on the door. Then they heard someone inside asking in a slightly displeased tone, "Who is it?" Lana pushed the door open, peeked her head in, and smiled. "Hello, Uncle Stanley," she greeted Stanley in a sweet voice. "Lana, why are you here?" Stanley's irritated expression instantly vanished when he saw Lana as he walked toward the door. He opened the door wider and saw Nolan and Tia outside. It was then he realized that Tia was the one who brought them here. "Come on in. What brought you guys here?" Stanley asked with a hint of confusion. "Our classmate said that the ice cream here is very delicious, so we came to try it out." Lana lifted her head and said while blinking her innocent, big eyes. "Classmate?" Stanley frowned. Not many children would visit Serenity, and the odds of them being their classmates were even lower. Besides, he figured that no matter how delicious the ice cream there were definitely other better options in San Joto. "Yeah, that's what he said, so we wanted to try it out," Nolan added expectantly after noticing Stanley's suspicion. Stanley stopped dwelling on it upon hearing Nolan's words. He was about to tell the staff to bring some ice cream over, but he already saw the staff entering his private room. "Mr. Riddle, the ice creams are here," the staff said before placing the 4 servings of ice cream on the coffee table. Stanley's lip twitched as he immediately thought to himself again, "This can't be just a mere coincidence, right?" He believed their story about coming here to have ice cream, but the fact that they were aware of his room's location and that the staff entered with 4 portions of ice cream made the situation seem highly unlikely. Then, Stanley remembered how Nolan and Lana had pestered him with questions about where he was going after work. He called to tell them that he needed a quiet place to think, so he would come to Serenity. Stanley could not help but frown at Nolan and Lana as if he had realized something. "Uncle Stanley, you should have a taste." Lana had yet to notice the change in Stanley's expression as she spoke. "Ms. Rose, have a seat," she added. However, Nolan had already noticed Stanley's suspicions, so he quickly changed the subject. "Uncle Stanley, let's try the ice cream first. Mom and Dad will be here soon. They're coming." Stanley was shocked as he subconsciously raised his voice. "Yeah, we called Mommy and they'll be here in a minute." Lana nodded firmly and spoke. Stanley could not help but rub his temples. "Have a seat. Mr. Riddle, are we disturbing you?" Tia asked softly after seeing that Stanley seemed a little troubled. "No, it's fine. Have a seat." Stanley quickly regained his composure and spoke. "They were already here anyway. Although he knew that everything was a part of the troublemaker's plan, he was not going to be upset at them. This is my first time hearing that the ice cream here is good. Let's try it together, Stanley said as he shot a glance at Nolan and Lana. They're definitely delicious. Lana began scooping her ice cream with a little spoon. Nolan shifted his gaze away and looked at Tia. Ms. Rose, you should have some too. Even Uncle Stanley hasn't tried it. We're all tasting it for the first time. Sure, Tia said and tried the ice cream too. Tia had an indescribable feeling as if something was not right, but she just could not tell what it was. It tastes so good, Lana praised after taking just one spoonful. Nolan chimed in. No wonder our classmate told me that we had to come here. Stanley looked at them and smiled faintly, seeming to enjoy their act. Uncle Stanley, how long are you going to stay here for? Lana quickly shifted the subject after noticing that something was not right. Oops, it seems like Uncle Stanley has found out, Lana thought to herself and felt it was best not to talk about the ice cream anymore. I'm not sure, Stanley replied as he looked away from the mischievous pair. Nolan widened his gaze. Why not? Is the problem very difficult to solve? Sort of, yeah. Stanley shrugged before continuing. But it's okay. I believe it can eventually be solved. Uncle Stanley, you can do this, Lana said with a bright smile. Yes, there's nothing you can't do, Uncle Stanley. Nolan nodded firmly while expressing his trust in Stanley. Tia joined in to show her support too after hearing the encouragement from the little ones. Mr. Riddle, you're always so capable. I'm sure that you got this. Stanley had a smile on his face when he listened to Nolan and Lana. However, when he heard Tia's words, he abruptly shifted his gaze toward her and was suddenly at a loss for words, not knowing how to respond. Thank you. Stanley kept it simple. Mr. Riddle, you're too polite. Tia lowered her head, feeling a little flustered. Ms. Rose is right. Uncle Stanley, you're always so capable. Lana blinked her eyes playfully at Stanley as if to say, Look, Ms. Rose is praising you. Is the ice cream not good? Stanley glanced at Lana helplessly.
Thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed this story, please like and share so others can see it too. Also hit the subscription button and notification bell so you can be notified on our next release. Thank you for your support. God bless you.